Hi Lindy, and a very warm welcome to Scotland. It's really great to meet you.
Tēnā koutou katoa.
Thank you for doing this short piece to enable people able to make the event the opportunity to find out more about you and the work that you do.
Thank you. It's great to be in Scotland.
You are the founder and executive director of the Agri-Women's Development Trust. Can you tell me a bit more about what the trust does?
In short, the trust is set up to enable and empower women in the agricultural sector to find their potential and really deliver a strong agricultural sector in New Zealand. So we want to help people in the social, economic and environmental space become better, stronger farmers and leaders.
Yeah. How is the trust funded?
Trust is funded through sponsorships and strategic partnerships, and one of our large programs at the moment, Understand Your Farming Business, is a venture between the government and industry. So various people have support us to deliver that. It's a charitable trust in that what we find with women is they are reluctant to invest in professional and personal development. So we ask them to pay a third of the cost, and then through our strategic relationships, 2/3 is supported. But interesting enough, once women have gone through professional development and realise the worth of it to their businesses and communities, they're more happy to invest in themselves.
Can you explain to us what the Escalator program is and why you set it up for New Zealand women?
Yeah. So Escalator was our first program, founded in 2010 out of the New Zealand Parliament. It's for a group of 14 women. We're always massively oversubscribed. It's a very intense year-long program. We have modules where the women meet in Wellington. They also have to do online learning and they have to go and experience leadership and governance out in their community. So they have to watch and observe boards in action, interview chairs and directors, and start putting their leadership skills into practice. It's for women who really want to step up into their leadership roles. And graduates from that program, we this year will graduate our 100th graduate, so that's pretty exciting. So very strong alumni, so those women are connected every day around New Zealand, supporting one another. And where they end up going after the program is really interesting. So they're leading some of our biggest agricultural boards in New Zealand. One is a local mayor, district councillor, regional councillor, or some of them are leading really massive environmental and economic development projects in the sector.
And what do you think the difference that programme is making to New Zealand and your agricultural industry?
Okay, I think it's transforming it, because not only are those women taking on leadership roles, they're inspiring and supporting other women to become leaders, so whether that's on farm or in community. And it's actually created a ripple effect. So some of those graduates are also working for the trust and helping delivering our education programs out to women. And that's a really strong message of women supporting other women.
Is that programme funded as you described earlier?
That program, women have to pay a third of the cost of that program, and 2/3 are through our strategic partners. And that makes a really nice mix, because our partners actually walk the journey with the woman and often provide mentoring opportunities and observing opportunities on boards for those women. And they've reaped the benefits. I mean, Beef and Lamb New Zealand, who are a great funder of the trust, they've had 3 directors from our various programs.
As part of the...
Yeah.
I know the Trust delivers various programmes for your industry. Can you tell us about All About You programme?
All About You. That was actually really the program from my research that I was kind of most passionate about. It's a 2-day program available to any woman in the sector, and it really helps women understand their transferable skills. A lot of women, when they get married, come into the sector, they have careers as mums, as farming wives, maybe do some community work, but don't really understand the skills that they are developing in these unpaid roles and how they can springboard on those skills to actually go further. So it's a 2-day program, personal development, helps women understand the journey they've been on and maybe where they want to go in the future.
What difference do you think it makes to the women who complete it?
Do you know what? Not only does it make a difference to the woman in gaining self-confidence and a clear direction, but it makes a difference to the families. A lot of men will actually contact us after their wife has completed that program and say what a difference it's actually made in their family.
And you talk about a 2-day program, but is there more time and commitment than that involved for the participants?
Not necessarily an obligation, but one of the things the Trust has recognised from our early research is the wraparound support is really important for women. So all our programs have an element of ongoing support. You has meetings for 4 months after the program, and then the participants decide actually where they're going to go after that. They usually stay involved with their tight group up for years. We have a group that's been going for 8 years in the south, which is from All About You. And the lovely thing about it is mixed ages. So you have young women mixing with older experienced women, and so there's a lovely mentoring relationships that actually develop there.
And do you do that on a regional basis across the country?
Absolutely. So apart from Escalator, where the women come to Wellington, and Wellington's important, it's our political city, and a lot of leadership, a lot of the organisations are based there, so we want our women to be mixing with them. All of our programs are delivered right in the heart of a woman's community, and that's really important so that she doesn't have to leave her home, and we reduce the barrier of travel and the cost of travel and time away from family.
Can we move on now to ask you to tell us about the Understanding Your Farming Business programme?
Yeah. So this one is part of the Red Meat Profit Partnership. So this is a government industry partnership, 50-50 funding. It's our largest programme at the moment. Next year we'll put 700 women through that programme. So that's having a massive impact. Our aim by the end of 2020 is to put 25% of the sheep and beef farming women in New Zealand through that program, and we're on target to actually achieve that. That program has delivered some phenomenal results. In fact, probably a real sector transformation in our industry. It's taken women from feeling that they were just a farming wife to being a critical farming partner and growing phenomenal farming teams. And in fact, it's actually birthed another program of ours called Future Focus, because the women were coming back to their farms, really engaging in the business in a very new and fresh different way, and taking on new roles, particularly around the budgeting, the business planning, that their farming couples were going, hey, the men were going, oh, I want a little bit of this action as well. So they've asked for a program for farming couples, and that's our Future Focus program, and the results of those have been phenomenal.
And I think you told me yesterday when we met that the bottom line in a lot of these businesses has improved significantly.
It has, really dramatically, and that's about understanding the budget and keeping to budget and having different conversations. A lot of our farming women marry into farming families, and they don't necessarily have the business skills that are relevant to farming. Our New Zealand farming men, I think it's the same in Scotland from what I've heard, are very focused operationally. So fantastic on the farm, looking after the stock, putting the crops in, doing the stuff that is vital in farming. The business side of farming, driving that business performance, I think is often secondary. So when the women are coming on their programs, they're finding a real niche in that area of the business that they can contribute. And that surfaces totally different conversations between farming men. I often get called at night. Men get hold of my phone number, which is really interesting because it's not listed, and it's lovely because they tell me a story about the difference these programs is making to the farming team, how supported men now feel. And it's not that, of course, women didn't want to support in the past. They just didn't necessarily know how to do that.
And how long does that course last?
That's a 3-month course, and on the last month, the 4th month, we come together for a graduation ceremony, and that's pretty powerful when a woman stands up and talks about the future of her farm and takes real ownership in the farm. There's a lot of men in the audience that have a wee tear. Of course, I guess that wouldn't happen in Scotland.
No, not at all. No. Is there a cost to the participants in
this
that
one
way?
Is completely funded by industry. So this is an absolute one-off opportunity, and I think something that would do incredibly well over here. I've been really impressed. I met the Minister yesterday, Ewan, and it was really heartening to see how enthusiastic he is for the Women in Task Force program and looking at what opportunities are there.
Yeah. you've got a future focus programme. What does that deliver?
That's the farming couples one. So they come on as a couple. It's a 2-day program. The first one is all about strategic and operational leadership and business planning. Then they have to go away for a month and they have to develop their business plan. They come back the following month and they present that plan to all the other farming couples. And we do a little bit more around team building and strategic leadership, because leadership's not really taught on farm, and yet, creating high-performing teams is really what leadership is about. And so that's been going incredibly well, and the couples are really setting quite new, bold future horizons.
And do you think it has helped prepare New Zealand agriculture for the future?
I think it's a huge start. It's preparing strong farming couples, and that is absolutely the key, that when you face the future together in a very united way, and you go through a process about really understanding, how succession is going to occur, where investment is going to occur, what that looks like, it sets the future up well.
And what would you say were the great skills that the participants, the couples that would participate, gain from the programme?
Actually an understanding of each other as businesswomen and businessmen. We've got great stories. We do a little bit of personality testing on the program, and we opposites attract. And so we have different personalities, and understanding how those personalities impact on the way we make decisions really helps them see the impact of that in a good way, rather than sometimes, we all get a little bit annoyed with each other's personalities, but I think that really helps.
Now, how long does the programme last?
That one's the 2 days,
2 days.
over a month. Yes. Yeah.
You've been doing this since 2010. What lessons have you learned over the last 8 years?
How long have you got? I think we need a whiskey for that one, don't we? Look, the biggest takeout, I think, is when women can get involved and when they can develop their potential and reach their potential, everything changes for a sector. And it's pretty transformational. I mean, we've gone from 8 years ago where women were not the norm in terms of leadership. We had some outstanding women leaders, to now leadership being more normalised and understood. That leadership isn't about positions, it's about behaviours. And when we understand that, then everything changes.
What's been the best thing about being in Scotland?
People, without a shadow of a doubt. I actually have some Scottish heritage. So my father was Kenneth Stewart Mackenzie. So before I was married, I have some Scottish ties. He wasn't born in Scotland, but his father was, my grandfather. So it's been lovely. There's a real connection with me to Scotland, but particularly the people. They're amazing.
And finally, Lindy, what's your most important message to pass on to the people working in agriculture in Scotland?
I think there are some big challenges, particularly with Brexit. People are worried about that. But they shouldn't be, because I think there's amazing opportunities for agriculture. You have amazing produce. You've got a beautiful story of a history of environment, looking after the land, looking after your stock. There's a real sense of community, and people around the globe are desperate for a sense of connection and community. And so I think there's real stories that can be told about Scottish farming way of life. The thing that I'd leave is invest in professional development. Take those opportunities. The government now is looking to set a program up for women. Lean into that stuff. That's an amazing opportunity that you'll never regret.
Thank you very much, Lindy. That's
My
been
pleasure.
really helpful. Thank you.